Welcome, everybody, to another episode of the Creative Revolution broadcast. I'm your hostess with the mostess, Julie G. Vegas, in studio with my beloved
Second Sight.
What is up, everybody? As you noticed, last episode, we didn't have a video. And it's funny because in that last episode, I did make mention of the fact that sometimes technology just doesn't work well. And I had one heck of a time editing our video last 2 weeks ago.
Supremely frustrating.
Supremely frustrating. I'm not going to get into all the nitty gritty details, but it was so frustrating that I didn't go back in time and fix it and put it on the internet.
You have one of those time traveling diaries?
No. I not like the butterfly effect, no. So anyways, today we are back with another episode, and the episode for today is talk about...
Why comply is what I taglined it.
Why comply? Not like, why comply? Because it's a good thing. But why comply when you have the power and the freedom to make a better choice for yourself?
We figured we would just dive back into sovereignty. I think it's been a while since we've talked about it because we're all here at the Creative Revolution. We're about freedom. We're about truth. We're about creativity. We're also about spirituality, Yahweh and the Creator.
Jehovah. Yeah, so that's what we're going to talk about today. But before we get into it, I just wanted to do a quick little show and tell because I realized that we hadn't done that in the last couple episodes. And so today what I wanted to showcase is this amazing cream. It's called Lux, and it is a cannabis-infused pain cream that actually works. Once you try this pain cream, this is literally the only pain cream you will ever need ever again for the rest of your life. And I will tell you why and how it is so good. In 2021, I had a complete and total hysterectomy, which 100% sucks. It is extremely painful. And so when you're in the hospital, obviously after surgery, they dope you up on the morphine. They give it to you intravenous. You have this little button, click, click, click. It just goes straight into the vein and it feels good. It works for mitigating that extreme amount of pain you feel when you have just had a humongous organ removed from the inside of your body. But when I went home, they sent me home with some anthrodiplamine, something or other. Long story short, it doesn't matter. I don't want to take, and I didn't take that medicine because it's not the same as actual pure morphine, as some derivative or whatever. And it made me feel a little bit crazy. And I'm not a proponent of pharmacia, pharmaceuticals, whatever. And all I used was this amazing pain cream. And it helped me get through 8 weeks of total freaking trauma, torture, pain. So I just wanted to give a shout out to Lux Pain Cream. If you are interested in this, you can buy this on First Nations Reserve cannabis shops all across Canada. All you got to do is walk in and look for their little holistic health section, and I guarantee you will not be disappointed. Right, Adam? You like this pain cream too?
Yeah, I like it. It's great. I love it.
Sounds like it.
I don't use it personally, but I know a lot of people that do and find it really helps.
So, Adam, why comply?
Yeah, what is going through people's minds when the government and the corporations, but the government specifically, is writing all these rules over your life that don't represent freedom in any way or any common sense, a lot of it. And society and the system is just full of this. This is the life that we live. Like when I started growing up, we were always told that we lived in a free country, and I would sing the national anthem at school. That's probably illegal now. But back in my day, we actually said the Lord's Prayer before the public school system.
How old are you, man?
I'm not that old. Really, I swear. Say the Lord's Prayer and the national anthem every single day, and it's like the true north, strong and free. And so I always believed, what we were told. The brainwashing worked on me for a while. When I was a kid, I believed that we lived in a free country. And then as I got older, I just started seeing all the things that really made me question, am I truly free?
Yeah.
When the police continually pulling me over for no reason at all and just searching my car and everything just for no reason. I was a kid. I didn't know that I had rights, and I could say, no, thank you. I don't comply. No, you cannot search my car. Officer, no.
Ooh, but Adam, the minute you refer to an
Well,
officer
but
as
even
an
not
officer,
even not in your sovereignty, you could say, "No, thank you, officer. I don't consent." If that's not going the full sovereign route, but even under their laws, there's rules that they have to follow. But if you want to be driving without a license, then it's important not to say officer, because that is, yes, you're now identifying that they are above you that's a contract word.
well, so is the word driving.
Driving. I wasn't driving.
This is why Adam drives with a license.
It doesn't matter. And when you got all you need is a script, really.
It's true.
And an association. This is what we're hoping. People will wake up and realize they don't need to comply with all these silly rules of society.
Yeah, because now is truly the time to wake up. Like, it's been
It's now or never.
Yeah.
Like, it's so obvious how crazy everything is and all the crazy things going on in the world. The elite are in full swing of their plan. Like, it's coming down to crunch time. Like, from the food we eat, the chemtrails, the genetically modified, the AO nanobots, everything. It's wild, man. Like,
Yeah, it really is.
You can't turn on the internet and not see some of this wildness unless you're just, like, completely brainwashed into normie programming.
Yeah.
Yeah, because it's extremely over the top obvious and things are happening. So what are you going to do about it? Our parents didn't do anything about it. Their parents didn't do anything about it. Just a few people waking up, writing some books, some whistleblowers. But now they're pushing us into a corner and we have to make a choice. So in 2020, did you comply? Because I didn't comply. I couldn't believe it when they said, oh, masks will be mandatory. I'm like, who's going to do that? Well,
And
apparently
then everybody
did it without a question. Ooh, a fine. They're going to fine us. No. And then, like, even it's a $20,000 fine if you don't wear your mask over your nose. Like, just ridiculous things like that. And the government since then has continued to do these absurd things, even going into the woods or into nature at all in the Maritimes because of the forest fires. Are using that as an excuse to implement their agenda. Like this, having these insane rules that you need to comply. And this is what the whole Smart Cities Agenda 2030. And we're also going to dive in a little bit to just the regular crazy rules of society. Like when you grow up and you just want to build a house on a piece of land, well, you get woken up real quick that, they're in control. So they think they're in control and they have all these rules over your life that will make it very difficult for you to do anything. How about people living on land together? Forget it. It's not allowed. All over the world, same thing. Why? Because they say so. They have no reason for not allowing more than one family to dwell on a piece of land, but that's the legislation everywhere. It's very difficult. Projects can happen, but it literally takes years. They take everything they can to prevent you from making that happen.
Yeah, and the interesting thing about it is, like, when you kind of just step back, now that we truly kind of have, like, this bigger picture and comprehension of, their Agenda 2030 situation with the smart cities and having people just, like, conglomerated into cities, which are centers of control, where they can have everybody hooked up to the Internet of Bodies and stuff like that. You can kind of see how slowly this type of stuff has been going on to kind of ensure that people aren't living in rural areas, in land together, doing the things that they are, kind of just like forced into the funnel that they want people to go. It's like, even out here in Wakefield, it's interesting because it is rural, so to speak. But what's happening is all of the rent prices are skyrocketing. Even just like if you want to buy a house, it's totally impossible unless you are rich. And so folks who were able to live here before are no longer able to afford living here. And guess where they have to go? Back into the city where they can actually afford something. And so this is absolutely by design. It's not just like, oh man, look at what's happening. It's like, oh no, like, actually look at what's happening, analyze what's happening, educate yourself, and then begin to make decisions and choices that are going to build up like a future that you want. Like, just because the government has authority over humans doesn't mean they have authority over you.
And do they even have authority over humans?
Well, they do have authority over humans because authority is given. And so when we give our power away, we give them the authority by complying. We give them the authority by doing what they tell us to. And that's really important for human beings to comprehend, is that like we have the power every single day. All of the power is in you. Like you wake up in the morning and you have a full roster of hours before you to do whatever the heck you want to do with, you know?
It's a good time to interject about humans because we are human. And the whole system, the governments operate on contract law, and they cannot contract to a human. That's the reality.
That
They
is also
contract
very
to
good.
your legal fiction. And so on your birth certificate, this is the whole scam, is that you were traded on the stock market and you have a stock number. Your birth certificate even says Canadian banknote right on it. And it's like, this is who they're talking to.
Your all caps name, which is a corporate identity, which is a fictional entity.
Yeah, they don't do any business with anything unless it's a dead entity, and it's a twisted, like occultic thing. Like I even heard rumors that when you are born, they take a piece of the placenta or something, and it becomes dead. They take it and they file it away, and that becomes, in their mind, that's them following the legal whatever crap that they've made to make it okay that they're doing this scam. No, look, we got that entity that we have contracted to, and so when you're turning up in court or if you're getting pulled over or whatever, you're identifying as that legal fiction by giving the cop the license and saying, "Yes, sir,
This
I
is
comply."
me. Yeah. So basically, with that being said, again, the question is why comply? Like, what is it that is in us that says you have to comply? It's the system and the structure that's been built around us that gives the illusion of safety, that gives the illusion of everything we need can only be found when we go with the flow and do what they say we need to do. But the reality is that like in order to go hunting, in order to shoot a deer, you actually don't need a license. Like if you think about it, like the sheer act,
Fishing.
Yeah, the sheer act of taking down an animal in whatever way you want to, whether it be with a gun, whether it be with your bare hands, whether it be with a trap, like I don't know, it doesn't matter. A license isn't actually required. It's a gun or it's the trap, it's whatever, and it's you with the intention and then the actual follow through of doing the thing. You know what I'm saying?
And that's one of those things that, like, I'm not opposed to some regulation, so hunters aren't going and obliterating a whole species, or being safe, But even the gun licensing system in Canada, they have all these retarded what-if rules where you go to prison for 10 years. If your lock, fails and it's your fault, you go to jail for 10 years if an officer discovers that. Or there's so many of these little rules, but yet their courses are... you could get it all done in one day and you don't really know enough to be completely safe.
No, it's true. I think, what would be really great is that if there was such a more emphasis on training and teaching and learning so that we could all just actually live harmoniously with one another and with the things we decide to interact with versus if you don't do something right, you're going to get a fine. And if your license expires, then you're going to get a fine and go to jail and all this stuff. It's actually over the top for a system to behave that way and to force that type of action upon its citizens, especially if there is no legitimate crime. If there is no
There's
injured...
no harm done to anybody.
No injured party. And that is something to make note of in terms of sovereignty and in terms of dealing with the agents is ultimately at the end of the day, if you ever have to go to court or whatever, if there's no injured party, there's no freaking case. There's nothing. You can't just try to take money from somebody because they weren't doing exactly what you want to. And so it's actually worth it to know stuff, to arm yourself with information and to freaking push back with all this ridiculousness.
It's always, on one hand, you have public safety. That's their excuse. We need to keep the public safe, organized, and keep everything in hand. And then there's freedom. And so where is that line? Because if you let them, and we have, keep writing more and more laws and regulating everything. They've regulated everything. How much is actually necessary? What would you actually choose? Not complete anarchy, but Right now, we're all the way over here is them regulating as much as possible and taking as much money from you as possible with all these things when there was never any harm done. When
Yeah.
you're speeding like, even 30, 40 over the speed limit on the 400 series highways, everybody goes that fast, but yet they could take your car away if you go 50 over. But there was never an injured party. No one was ever in any danger.
And no one was hurt. Like nobody died.
So
nothing
there's
like that.
a million rules like that don't make any sense that we would be punished and penalized for these things, And so over on this side, you have the complete anarchy where there's absolutely no rules, everybody doing what they want. But people don't realize that you don't need to be all the way over here, and you don't need to be all way over here, but you could be pretty close. You could just be over here and have a great deal of order in society and have a much greater sense of freedom and way less of a burden on people. If you just have a few basic guidelines, a few basic rules, people driving drunk, obviously it's wrong. We want them off the roads. People racing, being very dangerous. But other than that, who cares if you make a right-hand turn when you shouldn't, or if you drive in the HOV lane. This is the thing about people. You put up a sign, most people are going to abide by that.
Yeah.
Because people just I should. People are programmed. People are so programmed now. If they just stopped enforcing all the rules and just had the signs, most people would continue to obey. And that's just because we've been programmed that way.
Yeah, I think actually somewhere, maybe it might have been Ireland. It might have been
In Europe, they removed all the rules.
Sheen, yeah, who was telling the story on some road. That's what they did is they took the signs away and it made no difference. People just continued to
in a whole city, I think they
travel
they did.
accordingly to what the road signs had previously been. So it is
actually, I think what happened was that there is less accidents when they took all the rules away because people had to pay attention more.
That could be true too. Anyways, long story short, it kind of ties back to what I'm saying, that if there was just an emphasis on just teaching humans to be righteous and to behave properly and to honor one another and to just live in a cohesive way with one another, there would, again, probably be way less problems. But it's just this clamp and this enforcing of policy that is really over the top. And as we have always seen historically, and as we continue to see, and even I'm going to talk a little bit about Agenda 2030. This was something that kind of came into existence via these Bilderberg meetings or whatever. It was adopted in 2015, actually. And things from 2020 to where we are now, which is quote unquote 2026, allegedly, a lot of this stuff that they have planned has already been implemented. And it's quite alarming because when you give the government power, any type of institution, really, you give an inch, they take a mile. And these people are taking miles and they're taking it at lightning speed. We're heading so quickly towards the finality of what they envision, owning nothing and being happy and eating bugs. It's unhinged and it's not for us. It's not for me. This is not what I want my reality to be. This is not what I want the reality of my nephews to be. And so it's important to not comply. It's important to know what's going on and then make better decisions now before it's too late.
What they did in 2020, they're going to do things like this again. And even more. So it's you need to wake up now and understand basic sovereignty, that God's made us all equal. And nobody has the right to tell others what to do. We just have a common law, basically, do no harm to everybody, act honorably, don't steal. It's very basic. And this is what our whole system is based on. And everything else is contract law. And then for a contract to be valid, you need the offer, the consideration where you look at the offer, and then the acceptance of that offer. And they need full disclosure when they do that. And the whole system is based on contracts we don't even know we're in.
Yeah.
So these are all adhesion contracts where they weren't really fair and they're not going to be held up. They're unfair and
wasn't disclosure.
They didn't follow the proper procedure for what a contract is under law, common law. So that's where all these things come into play. And even during 2020 and the years after, all those fines that people were like $20,000, $5,000, whatever, just making it up. Like, doesn't it clue in your head that like they can't just do that, make up fines at a whim, and like there are mandates. We never had to do any of that. And it's like people that got pulled into the courts, the virtual courts, they found out, they probably told this story before, but they found out real quick that these aren't even real judges. They're just like, I don't even know who they were, the cleaner from like the Parliament building. They're like, oh, we got a job for you here. Just call these people. And it was like a telemarketer. And basically you just keep like, messing them around until they give up, and then you never have to pay because they can never enforce that. They couldn't arrest you and bring you to court unless you're foolish and you just, okay, I'm gonna pay.
Well, the crazy thing is too is that again, like most folks are so programmed to be like, oh, you get a ticket, like you pay the fine, like that's just the way it is because it's easier than having to like fight the system or like go to court or do these things. And like people are also like a bit fearful, they're just like, oh, I don't want anything bad to happen, so I'm just gonna pay this and make it go away.
I said people are either, why do people comply? Because either A, they're afraid of the consequences, afraid of the police, afraid of big fines or going to jail or something, or they just want to be a good citizen. And that was like the whole thing. He's like, you're not a good citizen unless you have your mask over your nose, and if not, then you're a horrible person, endangering society, killing grandma.
Yeah, no, it's totally unhinged, and it's really diabolical when you think about it. It's like these mandates and these fines weren't even like, they won't hold up in an actual court of law, yet they're out there calling people at home on the telephone, instilling fear into them so that they pay up. Like, it's really sick.
And all those crazy things when you came in, when you traveled, that you had to be on a list and people would call you and check up on you and everything.
Yeah, to make sure that you were quarantining for the 2 weeks or whatever. Yeah,
we did that, but we never. I think we put our address as, because they would come by. They would actually.
Yeah, we
send
gave
people
we gave the address of our land that literally had nothing on it at the time, and we gave old phone numbers because I'm like, frig this. Like, who do you think you are? And that's the beauty of taking your power back. That's the beauty of realizing that, like, hey, no, you're just like a literal another human being on this earth. Like, who are you to actually tell me what to do? Like, nobody tells me what to do. My husband doesn't even tell me what to do. The only individual
most of the time
that tells me what to do and I listen is God. So sorry, Bob from freaking finance. I'm not giving you any of my time or any of my money. Something that is interesting, just since we're talking about the travel and the COVID. So one of the 17 sustainable development goals was, number one, a COVID-19 recovery policy. So number one is they're doing like an expansion of public health systems, vaccine passport systems in some countries, increased global health coordination, growth of digital health records and telemedicine. And you might also be pretty aware of that, like, especially if you're listening from Canada, it's pretty much impossible to get a doctor, like an actual doctor here in this country where we have free healthcare. You have to ultimately get a telehealth doctor, which is ridiculous. Like,
free horrible healthcare.
Yeah.
Great.
It's ridiculous. So they're rolling that out en masse, at least here in Canada. And it's one of the things that they're doing with the Agenda 2030. And then a stronger focus on pandemic preparedness. Now, you got to ask yourself, okay, why are we suddenly having a stronger focus on pandemic preparedness? It's like, is something...
Because you were so prepared last time and all your mandates worked so well.
Yeah, but it's like, they're preparing because something else like that is coming down the pipeline again.
And what they've done is now, before there's the whole sovereignty, national sovereignty, where the Canada's country were able to make its own decisions, but they don't want that. Now what they've done is they've given up the sovereignty during medical crises to the World Health Organization.
Yeah.
So you just have this global dictatorship, and so many countries have done that, where they've passed, I'm not sure 100% if it's gone through, but definitely they were planning that, and I'm almost convinced that it's gone through, that the next emergency, it's Fauci calling the shots and telling you what
Fauci,
to do.
He's
not who?
Old news, Adam.
Oh, I'm sorry. Who
the
is
whole
it?
thing with Fauci didn't play out well for him. He's
he got
done like dinner. Like,
Well, what happened to Fauci?
Okay, well,
He
he's
didn't
like,
go to jail.
well, no, he didn't go to jail, but nobody wants Fauci as like the guy anymore. Like,
No, probably not. But
No.
it'll just be another stooge, anyways.
yes,
But it's all.
that's all he.
But we don't
ever
want
was.
anything to do with the Who. Sorry.
Not unless we're talking about the band. You know.
So what else you got? About
Well,
what's coming?
okay. Well, if we want, we can dive
The
into the next
policies.
thing. So we've got climate and energy policies. So they're working on ensuring that there are net zero emissions and that there are commitments made by countries. And we've seen that happen here in Canada. We've seen the prices at the pump skyrocket. And no, it's not because of the quote unquote war in Iran or whatever. It was because of the policies that they pushed through in regards to the net zero emissions, taxing us through the roof.
Did they push through a tax right when the war happened?
Yes.
That's crazy. So you think it's the war, but it's actually their freaking taxes. So it's actually super crazy because the whole climate crisis is it's not the climate crisis from global warming, and this is what this is all based off. It's all a scam. We're
Absolutely.
It's not going to do anything to help the environment, especially when they keep polluting the air with the chemtrails.
Yeah, and so think about the rest of what I'm saying in light of the smart cities and where they want folks to end up. So they've got carbon reduction laws and carbon taxes on that. They've got large-scale investments in renewable energy. We obviously know that. They're looking to phase out targets for gasoline vehicles in some regions. And that's something that's been talked about a lot here in Canada about purchasing an old vehicle from like 1990 or whatever illegal.
Well, yeah, it's going to be illegal to sell gasoline cars in Canada in like 2030 something.
Yeah, so that's coming down the pipe relatively quickly. And then they are working on environmental, social governance standards becoming common in finance and corporations. So like a strong emphasis on environmentalness, social stuff, and governance, and that just becoming permeated through all spheres of influence.
And they make it seem so politically correct. Like if you have these United Nations like agendas and everything, they put it in a language that like, oh, it seems like we're helping the world and everything, but people have broken it down and like this is what they really mean.
Yeah. So it's pretty messed up, the whole freaking climate situation.
Yeah, because they could literally use anything to convince people that they need to do these things.
Yeah, because because people, like inherently, we're put on Earth to steward the earth. So it's like none of us want to do bad to the earth. So the climate scam is great because it freaking hits us right where we are supposed to be hit. Like that's the thing is, again, the way they play on us is so diabolical. It's freaking parasitic in nature,
Yeah. And if you guys have seen, they've probably been blocked from the news, but like the farmers are, driving tractors through the cities in protests and everything because they're coming after the local farmer. They just basically want corporations to run the whole food supply. So generational farms, they're doing things with the taxes that make it almost impossible for them to pass their farms on to their children. And also all these policies of basically that driving the cost up to meet this climate crisis is making it impossible for farmers to exist, and so they're all protesting right now all over the world, and it's just crazy that for what reason would they have to tax people so much for the inheritance tax that they couldn't pass on to their family farm. Like they're coming for all the boomers' money. Like they don't want us to pass anything on to the younger generation. They literally want us to own nothing and be happy.
Yeah.
It's like, what excuse does the government have? What right do they have to take half of people's inheritance? Like they literally take these astronomical amounts of money and these capital gains and whatever it is. Like they're just trying to get your money in every left, right, and center.
Well,
and
that's because that's the thing is when we don't have any money, then we become fully dependent on them. And so, another conspiratorial kind of layer to all of this is it's not even really about money at the end of the day because money isn't even real. This is about energy, man. This is about
control.
Energy harvesting, yes, and control. And it's freaking, like I said, diabolical and it's parasitic. And so to just speak to what you're talking about in regards to the farmers or whatever, that's actually number 4 on the list of the 17 sustainable things that they're doing. So food and agricultural changes. And what we've seen so far, obviously here, is we've seen a push for, and I put quotes, quote unquote, sustainable agriculture. And the thing to me that's really crazy about that is that farmers who have been farming generationally for millennia, so to speak, have been farming pretty much the same way, save for the advancement of like machinery and whatnot, and the advancement of like, let's just say kinds of fertilizers or whatnot. So the way that they guise this whole thing is like sustainable agriculture, meaning you now have to do it the way that we have determined is sustainable, is sickening. And so part of that has to do with what they've done is reduced fertilizer and methane initiatives. So how you've probably heard them say that the methane gas that's released from cow dung is somehow contributing to, this
How retarded is that?
This climate crisis that we find ourselves in. Well, at the same time, we have psychopaths like Bill Gates creating lab-grown meat. And then this is something that's so wild, is this lab-grown meat is already found on shelves in America as well as Canada. So if that's not freaking alarming, I don't know what is.
And how do you, when you go out to eat, how do you know that's not
You
lab-grown
don't know.
meat?
So that's the thing is like, in my humble opinion, in regards to why comply, like it's so much bigger than we think. Like we really, as human beings who are becoming super aware of all of these things, have to change our lifestyles dramatically. Like, going out to eat can be so fun. It's nice to get dressed up, or it's nice to go somewhere where, you're not cooking and the food is delicious. But yeah, man, is that even food?
Even the most expensive restaurants.
There's no way for you to know that steak is from an actual cow versus grown in a freaking lab. And then the scary thing, which I'm just going to say that ties into this, in my opinion, with the lab-grown meat stuff, is the ticks that we are seeing this year, the large spread tick migration, which is essentially just the powers that be dropping tick boxes off in farmers' fields loaded with ticks that have been genetically modified to carry all of these horrible diseases to freaking harm us and harm animals. There's
I've never got a tick in my life, and I got one just the other day.
He did, yeah, but the what are they called? The ticks, the Lone Star ticks, have been genetically modified to carry this bacterial substance called alpha-gal. And what this does is when it gets into the human being's bloodstream, it causes a visceral reaction to red meat. And it's not just like a one-time thing. This becomes like a permanent thing, like how folks are intolerant to dairy. Now, all of a sudden, we're becoming intolerant to red meat as a whole. And so I'm talking beef, I'm talking lamb, I'm talking goat, I'm talking all of that. And this is literally dangerous for us as human beings, because the nutrients and the iron that we get from red meat is essential to our survival. So having something that attacks our insides that makes us unable to consume this anymore is diabolical, especially when they have their solution, which is lab-grown meat. Like, I'm not eating lab-grown meat. No matter what, like, I will mitigate by eating a frickin' squirrel. Like,
they want you to eat lab-grown meat
and bugs.
Like, this is the future that they want for you. And this is how diabolical they are, that they have hundreds and hundreds of examples like this to mess you up, mess up your body, so then you're dependent on their products. And even in my case, I have hypertension, like a serious hypertension, like 220 over like 140, like insane blood pressure. And I was watching a podcast at some point, and it revealed how the enriched wheat flour, like the Canadian government goes and spray, and even America, they spray the wheat and
with glyphosate.
Yeah, and so basically what happens is that normally our body can break down this certain thing and transmute it into something beneficial, but when they spray this stuff, then your body can't break it down anymore. And so what happens is that you get hypertension and you get high blood pressure, and lo and behold, they sell you blood pressure pills that they created.
Yeah, no, it's ugh. All of this stuff truly just makes my blood boil and really inspires me to keep marching forward on the path that is not predetermined for me. I want no part in any of this because it's not for me. It's not for me at all.
And this is the thing. If people are feeling like this, they feel like us, that the system's closing in, they don't want to be a part of it. It's very hard to do it on your own. Like you can make a lot of life choices and stuff to cut yourself off and everything, but without a community, it's very tough. And this is why we believe that making like-minded community to come together and make some of these decisions and even go back to the land to utilize land and start growing their own food, educating their own kids. Like it can be done. It's just you have to leave the system. You have to sacrifice it all. If you're actually going to do it, you need to basically turn around and go the other way.
And you've heard us say that a million times. It's not like this is new information. If you are a regular listener, like, what are you doing? Are you willing to turn and go the other way? Because if you're not willing to do that, what you're saying is, I love Bill Gates. Like, come on. That's literally what you're saying. You're like, I love Bill Gates. I love Fauci. I love Justin Trudeau. I love all of these guys. They're so cool. And like, they're not. Newsflash, they're not. They freaking worship Satan and they hate you. So let's get it together, fam.
And you know, it's not easy. It's not easy to go against the grain. You know, and we have all these fears of like, oh, if I leave the city and leave my job and all these things and go live on land with these people, you know, like, oh, all these things could happen. But now you're like, I agree. It's tough to work with people. And that's why I'm hoping associations can form that could really make it easy for people to do that. But it's literally like, okay, get rounded up and injected and then, you know, your mind blasted with 6G and die, or become a mind control slave, or try and live in community with people. It's like the choice is living in the system, this good life in the system, any part of it good, is very quickly disappearing.
Yeah, because it's not good. Because think about it. If you're living in the freaking city and you're grocery shopping at the grocery store, you're buying lab-grown meat. Like, you are not eating a cow. You're eating lab-grown meat, okay? Like, you're eating genetically modified food. This is bad. This is not good. And in my opinion, when you kind of like make a list, all of the things that, and I think that even some of this stuff that I'm sharing right now about the stuff that has already been implemented, this is stuff that is already happening. Like, this isn't a list of all of the things that they want to do. This is,
they are doing.
Yes, this is bits taken from the massive list of things they are doing, and this is or want to do, and this is stuff that has been implemented already since 2020. Okay. And it's really important that you comprehend that. It's really important that you comprehend that this is just the tip of the iceberg. They are not going to stop. They have a plan and they will see it through to the end. Like, that's just the way it goes. They have a goal and they are heading there, and this is just the way it is. And so you're going to help them get there by your compliance, or you're just not going to freaking worry about a darn tootin' thing because you're living somewhere else with community and working on other types of hard things. Like, life is hard. Like, if you're listening, put your hand up if you've never had a problem in your life. You know, like, life is hard no matter what. It's just a matter of deciding what's worth fighting for. You know what I mean? What's worth the struggle, man? Like
there is no humanity in their future. If
no.
The people that are going along with the plan, they are forcing compliance to bring you into their transhumanistic future.
Yes.
And they do not want you to be human anymore. That's what the injections were about. It's about reprogramming your DNA and making you part of the Internet of Bodies.
Yes.
And so this is your future. It's like every dystopian movie.
Yes, like every single dystopian movie.
All put together.
So let's talk about the next thing, which is the digital stuff, the digital transformation. So far what they've started doing is expanding digital ID systems in certain countries. And you will also probably have noticed that there is a mass movement of cashless payments and just digital banking. Like, so many times I go into a coffee shop or I go into to a cute little something something in Montreal
don't
or
take cash.
yeah, or in some city, and they say, "Oh no, we don't take cash." In those moments, you have a choice. You either whip out your plastic and you say, "Okay," and what is that? That is compliance. That is saying, "Okay, fine, no problem. I'm down to do it this way." Or you frigging turn around and you leave. And you say, "You know what? No, this is not okay." And that's what I do 9 times out of 10, unless I am extremely desperate and have not had a coffee, and I simply must have that coffee. It's happened every now and again. I'm not perfect.
You realize how important it is to keep cash around.
100%.
Because if they get rid of cash, that means they can digitally track every cent. And if they're doing that, they could basically control every cent. And you think that they have a lot of control now with the CRA and all these different agencies. Wow, there's going to be AI powered control over these digital currencies.
Yes.
And they're going to, your social credit score be like, "Oh, you can't go out tonight and spend any money because we're punishing you
Yes.
for jaywalking."
Yes.
And they're going to basically make a billion more rules for you to comply because now they can control every little exchange.
Yes, and so what Adam says is actually true, because ever since 2020 up until this day right now, there has been in the Bilderberg meetings and in other government meetings that they have, there has been an increased discussions in regards to AI governance over all sorts of areas of influence, all sorts
Welcome Skynet, hello.
Exactly. As well as smart city technologies, as well as this is something I personally see a lot of in my day-to-day, which is expanded online education, as well as remote working systems. So like I myself personally am a quote unquote remote worker. I work from my laptop. I never leave the house to quote unquote get my work done. And so this is something that is becoming more and more real as the days go by. And so just kind of like still talking in that, we have the things that we're seeing in the financial and the corporate world. So we are seeing obviously the implementation of central bank digital currencies, also known as CBDCs. We're seeing this kind of take over in some smaller nations. Like I think somewhere maybe it was
in
like
Africa, I think it was the Congo perhaps. One of the African countries, they just took cash away and gave them the CBDCs.
Yeah.
It was the test pilot.
Yeah, which is messed up. Again, like something that I personally think, and this is like a conversation that I feel like I've been having with folks for years and years and years, is that if we as like a quote unquote parallel society continue to hang on to our cash, we can continue to use that cash as a means for trading, buying, selling, whatever. Because all of that ever is a tool for trading. And it only has value because we've placed value on it. And so if we as a parallel society decide we're going to keep on using cash, then it still can serve its purpose. That's kind of where I stand with it. And that's why no matter what,
the best cash is the gold backs. It actually has real gold right in it, so you can melt down your cash.
But where can you get a gold back?
In America, you can order it online,
and they'll mail it to you.
Yeah, the government might seize it on its way over, but I've heard of Canadians getting gold backs, but yeah, you can get it in America.
So the next thing in regards to their diabolical scheme is social policy shifts. So we've seen an increased focus on gender equality programs. Ugh. And this is a thing that really gets me going. We see diversity and equity and inclusion, which is known as DEI policies. So, I mean, we don't really see this taking place in the field that I work in, but some friends that I know who are out there in the job field or whatever definitely have made mention of like the fact that they didn't get hired because they're friggin' white, and they were looking like the organization that they were looking to get a job with was looking for a diversity hire, and so like instead of somebody getting a job based on their qualifications to actually do the job, it's more like if you are a person of color or a person of the right gender or the mix of genders to be this inclusive hire so that they can meet their freaking social markers, then they're going to get that job versus somebody who can actually do it, which is terrifying because let's just think about something like a brain surgeon. Do we trust the diversity hire to be cutting into our brains and operating? No, man. And like, this is the type of thing that we're going to see more and more. And this is why, again, I truly believe that it's important that we make decisions and start living differently, like immediately, to prepare for a future, because we're all going to get old. And like, even myself right now, seeing my grandparents in a home, seeing like the level of care that they're getting there, it's half-ass. And I'm just like, even think about going out to eat sometimes, or like, you know, going anywhere and being serviced by somebody who is of like a generation below or 2 generations below you. These people don't care. Like, and that's because of the way that they've been conditioned and the society that they're growing up in, and probably all of the vaccines that they've been given at birth. You know what I'm saying?
But soon we won't have to worry about that because it's literally AI robots is going to take over everything.
No, but you do have to worry about like your end of life care, and you do have to.
Robots will look after.
No, man, you got to think about that brain surgery that you might need.
Seems to be a lot of points here of a lot of the same things. Like there's just a billion policy things that they're changing and things like that. And like these aren't even the big bad ones. They all kind of accumulate to something bad, but there's probably like a million points that we can mention. Just like the 5G, the 6G, and all these things that they're implementing that are like way worse.
Well, I mean, let's just talk about the fact that...
Take a couple out of this list.
Okay, so how about internet and data expansion? So they're pushing for universal internet access, meaning that absolutely everybody would be 100% connected to the internet, which I find shocking that that's not already where we're at.
Of course, for a payment, a fee.
Yes.
And so make it free for everybody,
increased online identity verification, which I'm sure you've all seen. Pretty much anytime you are logging on to a website or something now, you are definitely having to do a CAPTCHA. They're definitely pushing you to utilize
scan your finger,
yeah,
or your
to
eye,
use a pass key,
facial recognition.
And that's the crazy thing, is that the pass key isn't a number. Like, I'm like, what is a pass key? So it's either like scan your face or scan your finger. I'm like, this is unhinged. I really don't like that. And then expanded data collection and monitoring systems.
As if they're not already been doing this for like 50 years, collecting everybody's data. But now we hear on the news and all the things about these big AI data centers.
Yeah.
With, Elon Musk and everybody that are taking up so many resources and just making a big, huge impact on the earth. And this is all to collect your data. And you know what? The AI doesn't need to run with all these big data collection centers. They're choosing to have it run because they want to harvest the data, to send it to the mother AI to make all these decisions for running the world. You know, and selling all this data. They want your data. They want you, because now people are engaging with the AI. I use it for like a search tool. You know, when I want to find out something, it could be quite useful. But people are literally sharing. They're having whole lives lived with AI, like AI girlfriends and AI mentors and tutors, and like. It's just insane. Like, don't interact with AI. If you're using it, it's evil. Overall, it's being used for evil purposes, and it's better that we don't have it. But since it's here like everything else, if you do use it, just use it as like a search tool or something. Don't be asking it for relationship advice, because this is what they're doing. They're taking all this data, and the AI algorithms are learning more about humanity so they could come and do their big evil deed.
Yes. To do their big evil deed. They are a unified
Nephilim
conglomerate who are working together as one. You may have heard of the term the New World Order. That's pretty much what this is. A New World Order means a new world way of operating. And so number 10 on this list is a focus on international governance coordination. So they are putting a strong emphasis on unifying together and having coordinated governance structures implemented throughout the whole entire world. So they are looking to make, well, I'm not saying that they are looking to make, they already are making more multinational decisions collectively on climate, health, and finance. And the other thing that's super sketchy on here says that there is a UN Decade of Action initiative, and that is from 2020 to 2030, and that is to accelerate the implementation of all the crap they have on their friggin' list. So that is why I said somewhere at the beginning of this podcast that it's important to get a grip on what the frig their plan is, and then sit with that for a minute. How is that landing in your body? How is that making you feel? How do you want the next 10, 15, 20 years of your life to look actually? And if you want the rest of your life to look dreamy and to look beautiful and to look peaceful and to look joyous and to look harmonious and to look like you're with people and doing cool things, like, you have to truly ask yourself if that is going to exist within the framework that they have outlined and that they are implementing. Like, this is real. This is the thing, is this is not some far-fetched conspiracy theory anymore. This is
face.
This is reality. Like, and these documents are not hard to find. Like, this information I pulled off the internet. Like, it's common knowledge. Like, Klaus Schwab wrote a book. You can buy it on Amazon. Like, you can read about what they want to do. And I think that that is the key to all of this. It's not hidden. It's not hidden. It is blatant. And that means the choice is yours.
Even decades ago, there's people like, I think his name was Carroll Quigley, Professor Carroll Quigley, and he was friends with the elites, and he wrote a book disclosing everything. And he's like, I agree with this plan. It's great. Let them run the world. Like, it's the cat is out of the bag a long time ago.
Out of the
and
bag.
They're like laughing at you. Like, some of these things are so absurd. Like statues coming up depicting exactly what they're doing, and it's on these insane, like, what you think is crazy conspiracy. They're like rubbing it in your face. Like,
and
it's
the crazy
crazy.
thing is too is that it's literally there is nothing new under the sun. Like, what we see happening right now is basically just like reading the Book of Chronicles, reading the Book of Kings in the Bible, and just reading about how people are ruling and reigning in ways that are not in alignment with God and his will and his flow and in the way he desires humanity to live. And exactly like Adam says, they're just erecting like these insane statues to basically worship themselves, and people gather around it and they dance and they sing and they're like, oh, we're so happy. All hail the mighty Nephilim master, Lord freaking
Lord Vader.
whatever. And it's crazy. It's crazy. But if you find yourself like in there and like loving that, and that is your path, well then, good for you. But if you don't, then come on, what are you going to do?
Not a Nephilim bloodline.
What are you going to do? Like, now's the time to decide, what are you going to do? We are going to have a meeting. If you want to join the meeting, drop us a message in the comment section or reach out to us on our website, 777.ca. You can find our email address on there. Drop us a line. We'd love to hear from you. If you're sick and tired of being sick and tired, if you're sick and tired of Klaus Schwab, and if you're sick and tired of Bill Gates and you don't feel like owning nothing, you feel like owning your own freaking life and being happy, then let's do it, baby. Let's do it now, because now is the time.
Yep.
And we're running out of it. Tick, 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 tock.
Our answer, the free creative nation, a micronation.
Micronation.
Sovereign micronation.
Sovereign micronation. And bend the knee to the one true God, Jesus, Yeshua HaMashiach, Jehovah Jireh, okay? He is the way, the truth, and the life, and he will never let you down. So have a great day. Have a great night. Have a great life. God bless.
Peace.